Welcome to another edition of DrWhitty Today. We're talking branding, business, books, and booking with Dr. John C. Turner, a transformational educator, author, and podcast host with a PhD in urban education studies from Indiana University. With over 15 years in higher ed leadership, he served in roles from executive director to adjunct faculty and currently teaches globally with the University of Maryland Global Campus. He's the voice behind the Doc Chat podcast and coordinating author of the Doctor Talker with features in diverse issues in higher education, the Good Men Project, and more. A proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Dr. Turner actively engages with other national organizations, champion equity, student success, and culturally responsive education. Listeners and viewers here and at home, please welcome our host, Dr. Whitty. All right. How's everybody doing out there? Great day to be on Dr. Whitty today. We've got the incredible, energetic, fantastic Dr. John C. Turner, aka Professor JT. It's been a long time coming, so how are you today?
Long time indeed. Dr. Des Whitfield, let me tell you, you are a blessing from God, my friend. Let me tell you, everything that I have done and sought out to do, you have been a support, and it's nothing greater than to be able to support you on Dr. Whitty today. I am so excited to be here. Let's get it rolling, my friend.
All right. So if you haven't noticed already, we're talking about branding, business, books, and booking, and it's no other person that I'd rather talk about this with other than Dr. Professor JT. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I just want to talk about real quick. We're going to be talking a little bit more about this book here, the Doctor Talker, which is a great book. So we'll be talking about that. So I'm not going to throw any pictures out there, but I just wanted to show everybody the book. And it probably looks a little blurry, but let's see. You
It's
can
all
see
right.
it.
That's
Really
all
good.
right. We gonna throw pictures out here. We're gonna call you Aroldis Chapman, the Cuban Missile out here. Throw that picture, my guy. Throw it. You an MLB, right, friend? We're
All
gonna
right.
get more into it, but definitely check out the Dr. Talker. You can get that on Amazon.com. We're gonna get into it.
Definitely, my friend. He is an author, so I just wanted to shout that out. Dr. Turner, what inspired the Doctor Talker, and how does it reflect your personal journey?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I gotta kind of go from the very beginning when I decided to get my doctorate degree in fall of 2015. So that was 10 years ago. Took me about 5.5 years to finally defend. Got to that final end of the 6th year, finally walked across the stage, and I was like, man, I want to make sure I help somebody else get to that finish line. I want to help other people do it. And what I started to realize was there were other people just like me that wanted to really tell their story, what they went through to get their doctorate degrees. And I remember talking to a friend of mine, a young lady I called myself talking to at the point in time, and she had a doctorate degree herself. I said, I think I want to help doctors. I want to help Black doctors. And, I want to help more doctors of color get their doctorate degree. She laughed at me. She thought it was funny. She was like, well, how are you going to do that? And so, long story short, I don't talk to that woman no more. And I moved on to greater things. And the biggest thing that taught me was you got to go and do what God called you to do. And I truly feel it was a calling to be able to do this, to be able to go back and pull more doctors up. When I was finishing up my doctorate degree, I had a lady who had just finished hers, the same program I'm in, and she looked at me when she got done, and I congratulated her. She was like, well, don't ask me for help because I can't help. Because she struggled so much to get her doctorate degree. And a lot of times people do that, and I understand it, but I couldn't believe it. A Black woman telling a Black man, I can't help you get to the finish line like I got to. I said, that's not going to be me. That's not going to be me. So that's what led me to start the Doc Chat, the Professor JT LLC, the Dr. Talker book, all those different types of pieces where a lot of people laughed and said no. I said, you know what, we're going to say yes, and we're going to help somebody else get to the next level.
All right, that's what it's all about. As you said that, it made me think, isn't that somewhat of the same attitude in business? Uh, you know, don't ask me for help. Go find your way.
That's right. It trips you out because you like, well, somebody helped you. You know, that's what you think in your head. And so you would think maybe you'd be willing to help somebody else, but not everybody's like that. And I'm glad Dr. Dennis Whitfield, we're not like that. And it's a blessing because as we're going to go into this conversation, we're going to see why it's important to be helpful to the next generation.
All right. All right. So, all right. We know you got your podcast, the Doc Chat.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go ahead and tell everybody when it comes on.
Yeah. So I'm real strategic, and this kind of goes into the 4 B's: the branding, the business, the books, and the bookings. And this is part of the branding. The Doc Chat comes on. Every season starts beginning of March. It's always on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. That is strategic. And just like when you do branding, everything has to be strategic about what you do. The reason is I don't do the Doc Chat Thursday nights in the fall. Why? Because you are watching Thursday night football. And I know this because I'm watching Thursday night football. So I strategically wait until the end of the football season in March to have the Doc Chat seasons start. And that is very strategic to make sure people tune in. Plus, everybody knows I come on at Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Something I see a lot of people struggle with, especially when they're doing podcasts and different things like that. And that's why I'm so proud of you, Dr. Whitty. You know, you come on every other week, Mondays, and if it's a holiday on Monday, you come on the next day, Tuesday. That's strategic. I love that. People got to know when you come on so they know when to tune in. People don't get that. They'll just pop up with lives and then be upset because nobody's tuning in. Well, nobody know you were coming on. So you have to come on strategically. So I'm excited that the Doc Chat is looking to come back for season 5. We usually announce in the beginning of October so people can get ready. Trust and believe, I already got people asking, can they be on the show and when is it coming back on? And so I'm really, really strategic about that because I want people to know when we come on so they know when to see us. And that's what gets our viewership up. That's when people know, hey, let me block off time so I can do it and check it out. That's why I appreciate you, Dr. Whitty, because you'll come up and I know you tuning in because you're like, oh, it's Thursday night. Boom, I know the Doc Chat's on. And I love that. And so that's a very, very important piece when you're looking at your business, when you're looking at branding. You got to make sure it is in a place where people know where to find you, how to find you, and then know to see what you're doing.
All right, great. So, why was the Doc Chat created?
Yeah.
Who does the podcast serve, and how is it? I won't say has it. I'll just say how is it evolving?
Wow. So the real truth of how it started, somebody had invited me on their podcast, and it was just like I was just talking about. They didn't know where to find me. I was telling people when I was going to come on, and I didn't know it wasn't on their personal page. It was on their branding page, but they didn't tell me it was on the branding page. So people were like, hey, I was trying to tune in. I didn't see it. And I was like, you know what? I think I could do this a little bit better. And so I invited 2 of my doctor friends on that had got their doctor degrees. I was like, you know what? Let's just talk about this doctor degree process. And the first episode was actually just myself just talking about it. And I just wanted to see if people were tuned in, and people really tuned in. So then the second one came, and it was just a couple of my colleagues who I've known for years. They jumped on. We talked about it. And I was like, we might have some. So I was like, I'm going to come back next week. When I came back the next week and I asked who wanted to come on, boom, Dr. Dennis Whitfield. I would love to come on the show. With Dr. Goings, y'all both came on. And lo and behold, now we're about to go into season 5. We probably have over close to 60 different episodes. We probably interviewed over 100 doctors all over the world. We've interviewed doctors in Australia. That was the most interesting one. One of my fraternity brothers graduated his doctorate from Penn State. When we had the show on a Thursday night, this man came back on a Friday morning. It was insane. Absolutely insane to see this man come on Friday morning and say good morning to us as we're saying hello Thursday night, the doc chat. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. So the doc chat has just blossomed. It is just ballooned. It is just went crazy. And I just want people to understand how powerful it is to get into a brand that you know what to do with your brand. You know how to take your brand to the next level. And I want people to understand that, because when it comes to branding, people don't understand when it comes to the facets of branding, how important it is to have something you're passionate about. And I was passionate about seeing doctors get to the next level. People struggle, man. They struggle bad. And I didn't want to see them struggle like that. So I wanted to help. I definitely wanted to help. And that was a big thing for me.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Now, with everything that you just talked about, how would you encourage a person, a podcaster? It could be a podcaster, a business owner, whatever. How would you encourage them to build their brand with authenticity? Sorry about that. With authenticity.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to what I was just saying. You got to be passionate about what you want to do, because a lot of people don't know when it comes to a lot of these businesses, a lot of them fail. A lot of these podcasts fail 80% after the first season. I've seen people have all these big openings and grand premieres, and they're in their communities, all for the thing to just fold. I'm not gonna lie, be honest, this is actually a fourth iteration of a podcast that I've done in my life because I would do it with somebody and then it wouldn't work. I start maybe one myself, it wouldn't work. I had one, it was four of us, and we were just four good friends off of Twitter, or formerly Twitter, which is X now, and we did it for a few episodes and that died off. So I think what kept me going, especially when it came with the doc chat, was the fact it was you all. It was the people like, when are you coming back? When are you doing this again? When can I get on there? I mean, what has turned into just a few episodes just to see if people liked it, to now over 100,000 views all over the world. We've been live on every platform. We've had people who have said, and I have just heard this in the last few weeks, I had individuals who have gotten interviewed for people's dissertations and told the people when they got interviewed for their dissertations, I got through because of the doc chat. I found the doc chat. It was a community, and I was able to tap in from watching other doctors get done. Never would have imagined in my wildest dreams it would have turned into what it did. But it was such a passion to be able to see people say, I got done, and man, I got to get on here and tell somebody what I went through, because I went through hell and hot water to get this doctorate degree, and I want people to understand what it takes to get there. Has everybody gotten through? Not everybody. And I mean, it's just a fact. But I think the biggest thing was going back and pulling somebody up. And one of the greatest things that's happened for me was when I got through my doctorate degree, graduated May 2021, I said, I got to pull somebody else up with me. And I took on two mentees. One of my mentees just had started hers in fall 2021 at Indiana University. Another my mentee had just started his doctorate degree at UCLA. Mind you, this is now about to be fall 2025. My mentee who is at IU Bloomington is now an assistant professor at Jackson State University. And my other mentee is about to get done and will be done near November, December. That's what it's about. It's about pulling somebody else up because we made it. We got to pull somebody else up. And that's just how the doc chat just kept evolving, because people started seeing other people get done. they started telling their stories of how they got done. And they're like, look, if I can do it, you could do it too. And it just encouraged people to keep going.
That's what it's all about. That's what
Right.
it's all about.
Right.
I know when I was going through my program, I found basically a collective of other doctors that were helping other students as well. And I had reached a roadblock in my study where I was just thinking, man, where do I go next? How do I was down to, just finalizing my chapters 1 through 3, and then beginning to get, and I'm like, gosh, I just want to get to chapter 4, do the study, and then chapter 5. But I hit a roadblock. And so when I tapped into that resource, um, I was able to remain inspired, stay motivated, and like you said, get the help that you were looking for without being ripped off by somebody who want to try to charge you $5,000 or $10,000. And just realizing that, hey, no, I got this. I started. There's no need for me to give up, cave in, or quit. I got what it takes, and so I continued. Ended up, overcoming that roadblock and going on to obviously successfully complete my study. So it's great to have mentors out there, and I, like you, I do have a mentee that calls me, and we talk, and I encourage him, and I from the beginning I told him, you got to remember why you started, because any and everything is going to happen to you while you're in this program. You're going to be challenged at every aspect and every point, because the tests come to test you and see how bad you really want it. Are you going to quit because somebody's laughing at you, telling you you're not doctoral material, or you're not going to complete it? Are you going to quit because maybe the work is what you think is too hard, or you can't do it? you know Things of that nature, health problems, all sorts of things come up. Marriages get shaky, all kinds of things. Friendships get shaky because people don't understand this takes a lot of your time, and you have to be willing to say no to the parties, no to the movies,
Yeah.
no to the private time, no to whatever you got to say no to get that work done. And some people don't understand that. So
Yeah.
it's good to have that mentor that can help you through and get you over to the other side.
Absolutely.
So thank
Absolutely.
you for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you stay mission driven as you face challenges? And this could be, during your program, or it could be your podcast or your business, whatever. How do you stay mission driven?
Yeah, yeah. And I think you have to know what your why is and why you want to do this. I tell people all the time in my journey, my mother passed away when I was 13 years old, and my father was on drugs my entire life. So a lot of people just didn't think I was going to make it from the jump. And so it was always just knowing that my mother wanted two things out of my life: for me to stay in God and me to go to school. And I figured, let me get out of school I can get there. So bachelor's, I say it was for her. She really wanted me to get that bachelor's. The master's, that was for me because I loved working with students. And so I got my bachelor's in electronics technology. My master's was in student affairs and higher education, both from Indiana State University. And then I had the opportunity when I was working at Ivy Tech Community College here in Indianapolis, in my hometown, that the program was just starting. Urban Education Studies program was just starting, and they were looking for people. And Ivy Tech said, well, we'll ask our faculty and staff if anybody's interested in getting their PhDs, and we'll pay for it. I said, well, say less. Where do I sign up for that? And so I ended up being the very first graduate from Ivy Tech Community College that took on that professional development opportunity and got my PhD paid for from Ivy Tech Community College. So I'm very, very grateful for them. And it blossomed out of a course that I helped start, which was an African American male, Black male course, intro to college class. We called it IVYT 101, kind of typical like your university 101 class, that intro to college student success course you would take at any college university. And we started it for black males. Black males had the lowest retention and completion rate of that class, around 20 and 30%. But when we put them together in the same course, they ended up completing the class at a rate of 70 to 80%. And that made them go on to not only complete other classes, but complete degrees at Ivy Tech, complete their bachelor's at other schools. We even had a couple students that went on to get master's degrees, all because we saw there was a gap in them completing that course, and that helped them, give them motivation to complete other classes and their degrees and to do well in life. And so we went back and interviewed those students, and just that work ended up becoming my PhD. That's what I ended up doing my research on, interviewing those students after they got done with taking the class and going on through life, going on to their courses. So that ended up becoming a phenomenological study. That was a qualitative study that I did, and that became my mission. That became something bigger than me. And I just turned what I was already doing into a doctorate degree. That's what I want more people to do. No shade to honorary doctorate degree people, but I'm just trying to tell you, if you're getting an honorary doctorate for doing work, just do the research and turn that work into a real doctorate degree. That's just the big thing. It starts to bother folk when you flexing honorary degrees, when it's like, man, if you really get honored for doing the work, why don't you turn it into a real doctorate degree and go ahead and get your doctorate? And so I'm real big on not only saying I'm about the mission, but living that mission through and through. And that's what's been the greatest thing for me, is living that every single day and people seeing it. And when they can see it, they can believe it, and they can achieve it themselves. So it's a great thing.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
It's always good to have people in place that can see the potential in other people and are willing to step up to the plate and allow those same people to see the potential in themselves. And that sounds like that's what you did with that group of
Absolutely.
individuals.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you got a lot of feedback when you conducted those interviews. So I could only, imagine some of the feedback that you got that probably, blew your mind, as maybe you didn't even think that something that you did or said was so impactful until you conducted those interviews.
Yeah. I mean, we interviewed the students after they took the class. And so a lot of them would come back and say things that had tears in my eyes, because I couldn't believe they remembered some of the things that I had told them during the class, or some of the things that we showed them. One of the big things, I'm a huge sports fan. Go Notre Dame Irish. It broke my heart the other night, but they're going to be back. We would show them ESPN 30 for 30 broke, to see how individuals, when they got lots of money, knew how to do well with their money. And some of the students remember that. And I always wanted students to know, because since we had black males in the class, we could have conversations that really weren't some of the conversations that you could have in a typical class, because we had the same demographic of people that were in the class. And so when these students came back and were talking to them, one of the students, out of all the students, hadn't completed anything. Just the fact that I interviewed him, came back, and I told him about the other students I interviewed, he went back to school and was like, I'm going to finish something. And lo and behold, after I got my doctorate a couple years later, he's like, hey, check me out. I'm getting my associates. I'm graduating. Thanks for the motivation. I was still motivating him even way after the class. And those are the things you just never realize how impactful getting your doctorate degree is, because when you can do interviews like that, all doctorate degrees they fill a gap. You fill a gap that's there. And when you can fill that gap, it just motivates people to go ahead and say, hey, there's another gap off of this. Let me fill that gap with my doctorate degree. And you just keep filling those gaps. And so those conversations were rich. They were just something that I just couldn't even put into words, because people were just so happy to know that there was a school that cared enough about them to put them in a class together. And that class really changed their lives. And that was probably the biggest thing that somebody told me. They were like, I wouldn't have made it without college if it wasn't for this class. And just could not believe that I was able to do research with those young men and be able to say, hey, I'm thankful for you for even taking the class. Because let me tell you something. When they first walked in those classes, they thought they were in trouble. because through K through 12, when you were in the same space and you saw black males together, you was like, oh shoot. Imagine your very first week of class and you're in a class with black males. It triggers something. We had to tell them from day one, you're not in trouble. This is a class to help you progress. And I'm telling you, there were students that said the only reason I keep even going to my other classes is because I know during the week I can come to this class. And it meant the world to us to be able to have that course. And it was a blessing. It really was.
Great stuff. Great stuff. I laughed at what you said, being in the classroom with, all black males. And, you're absolutely correct. I mean, I could imagine some of them thinking that, wait a minute, this might be another episode of Lean on Me.
Yeah.
I'm on my way out. What's going on here? So, but thankfully, that wasn't the case. I just want to give a shout out to Judge Tracy from the Law and Leadership School. Thank you for joining in, and I hope you're getting something out of this. We're going to have to bring you on here so we can talk about what you're doing over there at the Law and Leadership School. Yeah. So that's just another person that's in the community, trying to lift up our people and put them on the right track and bring back some of the things that I'll say people have taken out of our educational system and are still trying to remove things, so that, we don't know our history, we don't know our power, but it's not going to happen. I like to say, the weapon's forming, but it's not going to prosper.
Amen. Amen.
So before we go on with this great and awesome interview, we're going to take a commercial break, Dr. Turner, and we're going to come back and we're going to continue to talk about brands, business, books, and booking. So folks, if those of you that are out there, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And when we get back, we like to have a moment where we post a link to the show so that if you have a question for Professor JT or myself, or you just have a comment about what you're getting out of the episode, we'll drop the link and you go ahead and don't be bashful, don't be shy. Click on that link, be ready to ask your question or make your comment, and we will spend a little time addressing your question or, addressing your comment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome to the club presented by DrWhitty. Here's this week's must read. There are over 50 types of doctoral degrees, but few ever share the real journey behind becoming a doctor. The Doctor Talker reveals the raw, inspiring stories of 6 scholars who overcame setbacks, self-doubt, and sacrifice to earn their doctorates. Curated by Dr. John C. Turner, this book is a blueprint for anyone chasing the dream. Real voices, real struggles, and real triumphs. Get your copy where books are sold.
What does leadership look like when it's stripped of ego and rooted in service? In Beneath the Crown, Dr. Aidan Brown delivers a transformational guide for leading with heart, humility, and unwavering purpose. This is not about chasing titles, it's about igniting impact. This book is a blueprint for visionaries ready to build legacy through service and authenticity. Step beneath the crown, lead with passion, live with purpose. Beneath the Crown is available now, so pick up your copy today and begin challenging your mindset and elevating your mission.
Dr. Ian Buchanan, a native of East St. Louis, Illinois, is the CEO of the NIA Education Group. He is deeply committed to servant leadership and addressing inequities. His best-selling book, King, a 4-part leadership framework for Black men, is making waves in the leadership community. His extensive experience spans teaching, school leadership, and advocacy. Pick up your copy of King today wherever books are sold. Can you see me?
No. Where'd you go?
Yeah, something You know how it is, technical difficulties.
All good, all good. You come with a question, I'll go ahead and rock with it. We're here. We are still live, folks. We appreciate you. So we're working through the technical difficulties here on DrWhitty today. This is your man, Dr. John C. Turner. I'm with the host with the most, Dr. Dennis Whitfield, and we're talking about branding, business, books, and bookings. And while we have those 4 Bs, we want to make sure that people understand, especially you get that doctor degree, there's life after the doctor degree. People miss that. They miss that there's life after doctor degree, and there are things you could do to set yourself to the next level. Multiple streams of income is important. But the big thing is you have to make sure that you are passionate about what you're doing next, that next level. You just can't say, hey, I'm gonna get this doctorate degree, stuff's gonna come together, I'm gonna get this job, it's gonna be great. It sometimes don't happen like that, especially in this time where jobs are falling because DEI is falling apart, or all those opportunities that were there before, they're not there anymore. I'm telling you right now, you got to get ready for the next level after you get your doctorate degree. That's why I really push branding, business, books, and bookings. That brand, your business, those books, and those bookings. What I mean by bookings, those speaking engagements, you got to be able to have all those things clicking because you're a doctor now. And people look for doctors to take their businesses to the next level. They want to hear from the smartest people in the world. There's only 2% of people in the world that have doctorate degrees. And so it's important that you have all of your eggs in a row in a basket all together, but make sure you spread them around because you can do more things than what you can with just getting that doctorate degree. You can do plenty of things.
All right. Thank you. That's why I enjoy Professor JT. It just brought me back to that episode where I didn't have a guest for an hour.
Jumped off for a whole hour. We kept the show rolling until he jumped off.
Kept the show rolling. So
And
we
let me
got
tell
it.
y'all, I'll tell y'all, folks, Dr. Whitty, man, he supports me so much. This man, we just did the incredible launch of Dr. Thon in July during the very first Black Doctors Week, the International Black Doctors Week. This man did it on the bus coming home from work. He said, I'm going to be a part of this. I'm going to be a part of it. And man, I appreciate that so much. That's what it's about. It's about helping each other out, looking out for each other. He's did it for me. I've done it for him. And that's what doctors do. We look out for one another.
All right. All right. I hope the link has been put out there. If anybody wants to take advantage of that, go ahead and click on. We'll bring you up on stage.
Yeah.
If you don't see it, let me know.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about booking and how to position yourself for speaking engagement and media features and academic panels.
Yeah. It's a huge thing because I think for me, how I got started is I got tired of seeing people speak that didn't know how to speak. I just got tired of them. I was like, are you paying this person to come speak? They're horrible. And, it's a thing to where you have to practice at it. And I actually went to what's called John Casablanca's, which is actually a modeling and acting school. I was really big in church growing up, doing speaking engagements, doing those different types of things. And I've done everything from church to the clubs, to the boardrooms, to the classrooms, because when you're a speaker, you got to understand your audience and you got to understand what you do. You got to understand your audience because I'm not going to say the same things to people in the boardroom that I'm going to say the same things with students in the classroom. I'm not going to do that. You got to understand what your audience. I'm probably not going to wear the same things. So if I'm going to talk to youth, I might wear some Jordans. If I'm going to talk in the boardroom, maybe I'm coming to suit and booty. So it's those things that people have to realize. But plus, the thing is, you can't be afraid to put yourself out there. Just like doing this. Dr. Whitty and I have podcasts. We are very nervous about those. I appreciate him for even asking me, hey, how do you do this? That's what you have to do. Ask people how to do it. I'm very thankful for my book, Dr. Talker, because a lot of people don't know my foreword is from Dr. Terrell Strayhorn. when I saw this man speak for the first time, I was blown away. And I was like, dude, can you write the foreword for my book? He worked at the Ohio State University. He had articles upon articles. He's speaking all over the world and all over the nation. Plus, he's very talented. He's a preacher. He plays the piano. So he had all these gifts. And I was like, wow, that's where I want to aspire to get to. Like Dr. Whitty talked about those mentors. You got to have your mentors. And so you got to look at other speakers and how they speak as well. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, was it the hip hop preacher? I've looked at him for a very long time. There's so many others that I looked up to. I was like, I aspire to be that. So I started to get speaking engagements and get speaking opportunities because I started to practice on how I spoke, not speaking like them because they're in their own lane, but speak how I speak. And that was something that was very important because once you find your voice, then those booking opportunities are going to come. And the number one thing I try to tell people all the time, get your engagement, get your connections, get your network up. How are you going to go speak to people if nobody's ever heard you speak before? You got to put your videos out there. You got to do things like this, be guest on other people's podcasts. Even if you have your own podcast, you got to be able to do that. People get so arrogant. No, I don't do that. You got to come on my podcast. Or people will get so big-headed, oh, you got to pay me for this. One of the greatest things I've ever did, I don't know if you remember this, Dr. Wood, it was probably around 2006, 2007, and they were burying the N-word. That's what they were doing. Like, oh, we got to get rid of this N-word. Stop saying the N-word. And so I was at a university at the time I was working, and my boss said, you got to do something about this. Actually, somebody walked on campus, and on the door signs, the dry erase boards of Black students, they were writing the N-word on those door signs. And so my boss, I had only been at the school probably less than probably a month or two. He was like, we need a conversation about this to address this on campus. And so when we were going to address it, he said, John, you got to realize too, you know, you could be a great speaker. You might not get paid for speaking for a very long time, but just the fact that you get asked to do it opens up doors. And I ended up speaking in front of like 70, 80 people, students that were on that campus. And I've spoken in front of hundreds of people, but one of the very best talks I ever had was just in front of one guy. He had just got out of prison. He was starting his life over, and I got a chance to sit and speak with him. And that was one of the most impactful speaking opportunities I've had. And so you got to realize, you got to see yourself on stage, speaking on stage, but you got to go and take those shots. Realize you're not going to get paid for every time that you do it, but don't take any speaking opportunity for granted, ever. Because you never know, that could be the one somebody saw you, and that could open up a huger door down the line. And shout out to all the commenters. I see my good friend, Dr. Edwards. I see Dr. Edwards out there. I appreciate you. Shout out to all the commenters that are tuning in. Keep those comments coming. Let somebody else know about Dr. Whitty today. This man is doing great things, and I appreciate him. Definitely appreciate him. Dr. Whitty, I'm telling you, man, this is landmark. This is groundbreaking. This particular podcast that you have, because it's so big to the fact that people not only get to share their stories, but you're actually showing our brands. You're showing our books. You're showing the things that we're working on. You're talking about us. And too many times we got people that do these podcasts. They don't even talk about the people. They just ask the people to come on. Can you share? Can you share? That's not fair. But the fact that you're being able to share what people are doing, how they're reaching out to the world, how they're reaching out with their brands and their books and their businesses is powerful. I'm telling you, man, we need more of this. We definitely need more of this. So keep these episodes coming for sure.
All right, thank you. Look, it must be because the technical problems right now.
Well, you know, technology, after a certain time, they go to sleep too, you know. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right that you got to get your name out there. You got to get the practice in, and you know, it kind of makes me think, even when I wanted to start this podcast, you know, I had no idea what to do. And who did I reach out to? I said, well, wait a minute, let me go reach out to Professor JT. He's got the doc chat. So, and I'm grateful that you was very willing to share your knowledge, and you shared your knowledge, and I took what you gave me, and then I applied it to what I wanted to do. So I'm really grateful for that, and that you didn't try to, you know, charge me, or whatever the case might be. So
Yeah. Yeah.
grateful to you
Yeah.
for that.
My
And like you said, shout out to Dr. Strayhorn over at Do Good Work, because he's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe one of these days I'm gonna. Well, I've actually reached out to him to be on the show, but as you know, he's a busy person. So hopefully, I
Yeah.
will get to have him on the show.
Yeah.
But it's another podcast that I support as well. So shout out to Do Good Work. Um,
Yeah.
him and
And
his co-host Jay Quinn.
yeah.
I think I said it right. So if you haven't seen that, you can check that out as well.
Yeah. They're on
Uh,
it's Saturday nights at like
I think it's
9
like
p.m. or something.
seven or eight. I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good stuff. I mean, it definitely is good stuff.
All right. So the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
So why is uh why is that so central to leadership, to influence, and to education?
Yeah. You
The
got to be orator.
art of storytelling.
Yeah, you got to be an orator. You got to be able to, because nobody's going to be able to tell your story better than you. And you have to be able, I say, to be able to sell water to a fish. Fish don't need no water. But if your storytelling skills are top notch, that fish is going to be like, I don't care how much his water is, I'm paying for it. And you got to be able to do that, because when you do, that's when you know you have started to get to a good place in your storytelling skills. You got to practice. And I'm not talking about that Allen Iverson type practice. I'm talking about like you really got to get down there and practice. I remember I had a big keynote. I was going to speak to over 200 males at a talk on a Friday morning at 8 in the morning. I was like, oh, this could go real bad, real bad.
Very
And I came up and I was practicing and I practiced, and I had a friend of mine who had a dog, and I was practicing in front of the dog. And I was like, what do you think? What you think? And so I finally got to where it was. It was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I got there and I knew what these young boys wanted. And so I started off, I introduced myself. I thanked the people who allowed me to come. And the very first slide I had was, who is better, LeBron James or Steph Curry? And their eyes opened up. Their eyes, LeBron sucks. LeBron's horrible. I mean, these kids, they going at it. All of them going at it. But I had them. And once I had them, then I told my story, where I came from, who I was, what I was doing. Then what people don't do, they talk out people, but they don't let people talk with them. You got to have some call and response. You got to have some opportunities where people are engaged with you and you'll know they're engaged. And so that's what started opening up doors for me to have other opportunities. I just did I had a bucket list goal to do a high school graduation, and I did that this past May. But that never would have happened if I hadn't got asked to speak at the university I worked at for a last minute morning keynote. They were like, oh man, we don't have anybody for a morning. Can you do a last minute morning keynote? And I was like, well, sure. And I told my story. There was somebody in the crowd who worked at a high school who came up to me afterwards and said, we've been looking for a keynote for our high school graduation. Would you do it? I said, look at God. This is incredible. This has been on my bucket list. And I got to put on my regalia and I got to do my talk. And I just couldn't believe it, how God opened that door. But it was all because, and Dr. Whitty, you kind of said it, you got to put yourself out there. I could have been like, man, y'all didn't even give me no time to prepare for this keynote. They gave me 1 week. But I did it, and that opened up the door for another keynote opportunity. It was crazy because when I got done, the people looked at me, they were like, we'll see you next year. And I was like, wow, because they enjoyed it so much, and it was so much fun. And those are the things you have to be able to do. You can't be scared of what people are going to say, because people are going to talk about you. Oh man, they're going to, oh, his ears are too big. Oh man, he's too loud. He's too crazy. They're going to talk mad, crazy about, but you know what? For all of those haters, you'll get over 1 million more people that believe in you. That's what matters. If you don't have a hater, you probably ain't doing nothing right anyway. So you got to be able to tell a great story. You got to be able to do it. And when you do that, it's going to open up many doors.
Exactly. That's a part of my bucket list too, is speak at high school graduation,
Yeah.
and also college graduation. So
Wow, dude.
that's awesome. I like that.
Appreciate it.
And you're absolutely right. You gotta grab them. It's like that first minute, or that first 1 to 2 minutes.
Yep.
That's gonna make it or break it. You
Everything.
gotta come in and you gotta capture people's attention when you're talking to them, because as you know, these days everybody is preoccupied. They're on their cell phones. They're talking to their neighbor.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't even want to be there. They're pressed for time. So as a keynote, you've got to be well prepared and think everything through. And like you said, don't just talk at your audience, but have a conversation. You got to make it feel like you're having a conversation where they have some say in what is taking place.
That's
It's
right.
it's not a monologue, but it's a dialogue between you and your audience. So I like how you said that.
Indeed. Indeed.
So now, how do you balance, or how did you balance academia, authorship, podcast host, entrepreneurship? How did you balance all of that as you continue to engage in all of those endeavors?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it makes me think about, the book Ecclesiastes. There's, a season for all things. There's a time for all things. And there's really no such thing as real balance out of any of this. One of my great doctor mentors at Indiana State University, Dr. Hinton, she was like, sometimes there's going to be days like this, and there's other times days going to be like this. It's just what it is. And you got to be able to do the very best you can with what comes your way. You had talked about the journey of going through the doctoral degree. It's even the journey after you get through. This ain't all roses when you get done. It's really not. It's a challenge sometimes, because you're still trying to figure out life. Even when I was going through my doctorate degree, a week after I defended my dissertation proposal, my father passed away. And so it was dealing with that, plus still having to figure out work, because I had one of my biggest events that was happening literally the very next day after I found out my father died. And I'm still working on the doctorate degree. And so it was trying to just manage the best that I can with the help of God. And thankfully, I had great supporters in that time. And those are the things, just like you talk about, Dr. Whitty, those mentorships, those supporters, you got to have those people. It's a lonely road. Even after you get done with your doctorate degree, the people that started out with you, a lot of times ain't going to be there when you get done. And it blows your mind, because everybody wants to be on the ship when the ship is going. But boy, when you get there, they just might not be there. And it's those things that you start to realize, sometimes I just got to go through this by myself. And that's okay. And that's all right. But you have to realize the people who are around you the most is a big reflection of who you are. So if you just don't have a lot of people around you, maybe everybody can't go to the mountaintop with you. Maybe everybody just can't be great with you. And that's part of the balance, that people are going to fall off. That's why they call it balance, because they can't hang on, And so I always want people to realize it is going to be that type of journey where some things are going to fall off, some things are going to hang on. There's going to be times you got a job, you don't got a job. You're going to be switching jobs. There's going to be times your book is doing great. Shout out to the Dr. Talker book. We are at our 2-year anniversary. But let me tell you, the Dr. Talker did not make me a millionaire, folks. It just did not do it. I mean, I'm blessed for it. I got people all over the world that have gotten the book. They said they love the book. It's not a perfect write either. This story of all these doctors, these 6 doctors, is rich. It's deep. And those are things that I want people to realize. But there were seasons after the book was written that I didn't get much attention. But there was other seasons, just like this past spring, where I had a doctoral student that said, "Hey, I'm having an event. I need 20 books because I want to give them out to people that are here at my event." I couldn't believe it. I was like, dang, I thought the book had died. But I made a book that's going to transcend time. That's what was important to me. But like you said, Dr. Whitty, it's that balance. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it don't. But at least you keep on going. That's the thing. You just keep on going. No matter what, you stay positive. You keep your health right. You take care of yourself. Make sure you're looking good, because you never know when that phone call is going to come. That email is going to come. Hey, I need you to come speak. Hey, I need you here at this event. Hey, I need you on the Dr. Whitty show. All those different types of things. You got to stay ready. And when you stay ready, great things happen.
Exactly. I like how you talked about when you said balance. You don't know if balance is the right term. And so I like to call it fitness. You know how people say work-life balance. And I'm not sure we can ever, balance work and life. You just have to be fit. So I like to call it
Like that. Like that.
work and life fitness, because you have to be prepared for anything and everything.
Man, who are you hear that from? Who got that? Who is that? You? Is that you?
Well, I hear things. I won't take credit for it. I hear lots of things. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of things. But work-life fitness that's what I like to refer to.
I'm about to say, find out who's that. If that ain't nobody's, hey, you might as well put that in your pocket, my guy. That's good. That's good stuff.
While it's out there now, before somebody else put it in their pocket, right? But work-life fitness, and when I think about your opportunities to speak and your opportunities to share and talk about your life, it kind of make me think. And I hadn't spoke to you. I don't think I think it was about at the beginning of August.
Mhm.
I had suffered a mild heart attack, so I ended up in the hospital for I think it was a couple of days. I don't remember how long,
Wow.
but yeah, and
That was
so
right after Dr. Thon. That was right after that.
yeah,
My
exactly.
God.
You know what it was, and
Wow.
so I was at work, and at work I'm a CPR instructor, and so I was actually attending another class, a leadership class at work, and so I brought that up during the class, but I was just telling them how you can take things that I told them. Now when I do CPR, it gives me a more impactful and relatable story when I'm talking about the importance of knowing the difference between a heart attack and cardiac arrest, or how serious it is that you tell someone what's going on,
Yeah.
or have people to support you, because it's a relatable story, and it's my story that I can use when I'm actually facilitating that particular class. And so, like you was talking about, have those impactful stories, and you just got to be ready. And the important thing, I brought that up because the importance of fitness and all the things that we're doing, all the things that we're trying to achieve. I think someone said it. I think it was Dr. Diana that said good time management.
Yeah.
Good time management. You gotta manage your time well. I like to tell people who always say I don't have time, or they say I can't find time, and I tell them, well, I've never been able to find time. I haven't found time yet. You have to make time to do the things that you have to do to take care of yourself, to be fit, to be ready, to get your word out there. Because once you start pursuing goals, that's when all the challenges start confronting you. Because you're, like you said, if you're not shaking tables, if there's not a hater, if there's not something happening, you're not doing anything.
That's right.
So if you, as an entrepreneur, if you have a goal, if you want to go to school, start a business, get physically fit, whatever the case might be, you got to learn how to manage your time.
That's right.
You got to have that support around you, to help you stay focused and stay motivated on your goal. And like you said, Dr. Turner, you got to realize that sometimes you might find yourself standing in a room by yourself, but you got to remember your why.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
Because when you're standing by yourself, it's not a time to quit. It's a time for you to dig deeper, to be like an eagle and dig those talons deeper into that tree. So while that storm is passing, you won't get caught up in the storm.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So, think we almost to a close there, Doc.
All right. All right. Top flies, you having fun, man. Tell it.
Yeah. I'm going to throw these last two questions at you.
Okay.
So what tips would you give somebody for podcasting, writing a book, or just growing a digital presence? What tips would you give someone?
Yeah. We always got to go to that Nike. Just do it. Just do it. I'm telling you. They put out the top 50 creators. I think it was Forbes magazine just a few weeks ago. And a couple of them were from LinkedIn. It kind of shocked the mess out of me. And one of the gentlemen was a medical doctor. Another gentleman, he was a creator. But the other gentleman was a creator, said something that really, really touched me. He said, you can't be afraid to get embarrassed or feel embarrassed or to do something that might look crazy or feel, wild. I'm real big on making sure people understand a couple things, especially when you get a doctorate degree or you get your degree, especially as black people or people of color. We don't have to do silly stuff to get attention or to be famous or to make money. We can be intellectual. We can be significant. We can be serious. Because I love the whatever is in Kai Kinet or the Drew Skis or the I Show Speed. Like that's not, y'all making good money and stuff like that. That's good stuff. But man, y'all doing some silly stuff, man. Like, we're intelligent beings. We're the original beings of the world. And we can take our intelligence and we can be successful in doing that. And then also, it's not about people finding you. You need to go find people. When I got on LinkedIn about 8.5 years ago, I didn't know anybody. And I was just like, let me start telling my story. I'm working on my doctorate. Let me start connecting with other people working on their doctorate. Now, 8.5 years later, that's turned into almost 40,000 followers and almost 30,000 connections. But people are like, well, in hindsight, maybe that's not a lot. But I have made those connections in being myself and also of being in my lane. That's also a big thing, too. You got to know what your lane is. That's why I appreciate you, DrWhitty. All your conversations are intelligent conversations. They're great conversations. They're powerful conversations. That's what it needs to be. You need to know what your lane is. Too many people get in and out of their lane, and it burns them. One of my favorite mentors ended up talking about a topic he was passionate about, but he didn't know, and it burned him and got him fired from serious job. And those are the things we have to realize. Just stay in your lane. I mean, the sad part is we start to feel ourselves when we get into these speaking things and people want to think that you can speak on other things. I don't need to be really talking about relationships. I don't really need to be talking about wealth and money. I do education. That's my lane. So if you're looking to start podcasts and do all those things, just stay in your lane and take that lane to the next level. That's a big thing. Connect with people, build your brand. A lot of people didn't find me on LinkedIn because they saw my stuff. I went and I found them. Oh, you're a doctor? Connect. You're a doctor? Connect. You're a doctor? Connect. That's how the doc chat kept growing. That's how we have a DM group on LinkedIn that's 3 deep. I have 3 different groups of 50 doctors each. That's over 150 Black majority doctors. We have some Latino doctors in there that we're sending job opportunities to. We're telling about speaking opportunities. We're telling about opportunities to connect with other doctors. We're telling about opportunities to be on podcasts like this because we wanted to connect that network. But that was me going after other people that were in the like space that I was and being able to grow that way, authentically that way. And so we have to get back to that. We used to do that back in the day, like on Facebook. You just go and you just connect with people. People don't do that anymore. They want everybody to find them. You go find some people too. You talk with people too. Comment on people's posts as well. I was telling DrWhitty, I've told a lot of other people on LinkedIn, they've asked me like, how do you grow what you're doing? You have to go after people. Go after them. If they are in the lane of what you're doing, connect with them. Connect with them. So then when you connect with them, they can see what you're doing. You can see what each other's doing, and that'll just keep growing and growing from there. So you just got to go do it. Just try it. And I think one of the greatest things I read, it was a gentleman, he had a record company. He had just spoke at Harvard. And he said, your very first business is probably going to fail. And so you have to go ahead and keep tweaking that thing and shaping that thing. And there's so many businesses out there that started as something else. YouTube did not start out as YouTube. It was like a makeshift dating site at first. Instagram was not Instagram, but somebody started focusing just on the picture parts of Instagram. Boom, it blew up. You got to focus on what blows up and just take that to the next level. So when we started talking with doctors of color, we just started talking with doctors of color. We also are authentic because we talk to all doctors who earn a doctorate degree, not just PhDs. And no knock to the groups and the people that do it. I just thought it was so weird. Everybody kept giving attention to PhDs, PhDs, PhDs. Yes, DrWhitty has a PhD. Yes, I have a PhD. But there are 50 other types of doctor degrees out there. That's why the Dr. Talker book, shameless plug, is so big because there are doctors from all kind of doctor degree programs, whether they're online or brick and mortar, or they have EDDs or PhDs or one of the other doctor degrees out there that they can get. A lot of people don't know. I think it's Virginia University of Lynchburg or University of Virginia Lynchburg, whatever it's called, is a HBCU. They graduate the most black doctors in the country. They will graduate 300 black doctors in 1 year. And it's only a year to year and a half program. And we are so happy to connect with so many of those doctors because they are so happy to get those doctorate degrees. And so that was my jam. And I stayed in that lane and we've been riding that train. I'm telling you, it is rolling. But I think I want to touch on something you said earlier too, DrWhitty, that's really, really important. That fitness part, that's really big. You got to take care of yourself. And I'm so proud of you that you're still here because I know you being a man that's been in the military, you're big on fitness, take care of yourself. I mean, I even think about Lance Armstrong. That shocked me when he came down with cancer. It happens to all of us. Heart disease runs rampant in black people, diabetes. I even had an episode where I had to check what I was eating earlier this year because I was like, wow, what's going on? I'm not feeling the same. You start to get older, your body starts changing. More green vegetables, walking more, finding people that do what you need to be doing in your life, not eating all the junk and snacks, taking care of yourself. That's very, very important because I think after we get that doctorate degree, we put so much into it and it's that fall off after you get it. But you got to keep taking care of yourself because like we were talking about before, you never know when you're going to get that phone call or email and somebody's like, I need you, but you got to be in tip top shape. You got to be ready for it. That's why you got to take care of yourself. It's not something that is just something you just do. It has to become a lifestyle. And that's a very, very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome comments from Professor JT, also known as Dr. John C. Turner. I'm going to throw out the last question. What do you wish for your leadership legacy to be?
Yeah. Well, I hope it would be, and I've had this happen a couple times. It blows my mind. When people get their doctorate degrees, they will reach out to me on LinkedIn and tell me they got it and say, thank you for the doc chat and for the doctors that come on there and have told their stories because that's what got me through. I've had people that got the Dr. Talker book talk about they had to read it twice just to get the motivation to get them through. So we're leaving legacies, all of us, all the people that's been a part of the doc chat who I'm so thankful for. Nobody's ever come and asked me for a dime either. Everybody's been so willing and so, hey, I want to be on this. I want to talk and I want to share it with somebody else. I appreciate Dr. Diana. She's actually been keeping me in the loop. I had her on with Dr. Van, who are from the University of Phoenix. And that one episode has started circulating so much, it's actually landed in the lap of the Department of Education, who they're saying they possibly want to use it for other type of ventures because it was so positive and showed doctors coming from University of Phoenix in such a huge light. And we connect with all kind of great people that are doing great things. I think that's been the great thing about the doc chat too. We're not stingy. We're not sitting here keeping all the resources to ourselves. We reach out, we connect with other people, and probably the best legacy that we've done. I've met DrWhitty in person. We have gone all over the country, and I've met doctors everywhere. People are like, "Oh, you're here? Let's meet up." I've had dinners. We've had the doc chat dinner. That's been huge. We've met future doctors. I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible. The people we connected with in person. Now, I have said I am the anti-conference because everybody kept saying, when you got a doc chat conference, I don't want people paying money to come for us to come together because you miss so much. That's what's been so powerful about the doc chat, because stuff we would talk about in a conference, and that's why we did Doctor-thon. We just put it online so people could see it. Because that's the thing. You can't see everything, but if you put it online and it's positive, people will find it. And that's what we want to keep doing. That's the legacy of the doc chat. That's the legacy of the Professor JT LLC. Starting that has been powerful because it's just opened up so many doors that I never even knew were possible. Not even anything I even saw myself doing. I mean, appreciate people like Dr. Diana, who's been commenting. She's been great. She's even reached back out like, when is the doc chat coming back? I'll be flat out honest with you. I didn't want to come back for season 3 or 4. I was tired. I was like, oh my goodness. But every single time it keeps getting better and better and better. So I'm like trying to reel myself up. All right, season 5, we got to be ready for it, because I'm telling you, people like DrWhitty, people be looking for us. They can't wait for us to come on. And that's the legacy we're leaving. And I mean, I just can't believe it. Just thank God every single day. And for everybody that believes, thank you. Thank you for the people that's met up, that's just watched, everybody that's gotten the book. It's just a blessing from God that we've had these opportunities to connect with doctors all over the world. And they're happy that they have a network that is welcoming them. They are so happy about it. And that's what the greatest legacy has been.
All right. There you have it, everybody. This is DrWhitty today with our great guest, Dr. John C. Turner, aka Professor JT. It's been an awesome show, and I know this is not going to be the last time you're going to be on here. So
Nope.
I'm going to have to.
I'm a ringer. I fill in anytime.
All right. You're going to be a seat filler, right?
There you go. There you go. I'm telling you, find me on LinkedIn, folks, because I'm telling you, we are doing great, great things on LinkedIn. DrWhitty's on there. Make sure you follow him, folks. It's a blessing. Follow me also, Dr. John C. Turner, on YouTube as well. We're rocking on there. That's where all the doc chat episodes are as well. Make sure you check all 4 seasons out. Absolutely. I see the book. Plug it.
Absolutely. Get your book where books are sold.
Amazon. And we're finally ready. Like I said, this is the 2-year anniversary. 2-year anniversary of the Dr. Talker. So put it on your website. Finally go ahead and put it on. Find it on Dennis Whitfield's website. Find it there. What is the website?
www.drwhitty.org. I'm going to make sure it gets on there.
Yes.
So if you happen to go and it's not there yet, I'll make sure it gets on there. And I'll make sure I get with you to get me some more copies.
Indeed.
Right.
Thank you.
So we are wrapping up season 2 here on DrWhitty today. I think our last show, season 2, is on the 29th, the day before my birthday.
Yay. Yes.
I remember when you said we met and we went out to the restaurant, and there was some other folks there too, and we had a great time.
Yeah, we did.
And it was such a blessing because you didn't have to do it, but I enjoyed myself. So it just made me think, hey, my birthday is coming up again. But we will end season 2 on the 29th, and then we'll be back the first week of January with season 3. Like you, I already got some shows that are lined up that will actually, I have some that will be pre-recorded, but most of them will be live. But I do have like a couple that'll be pre-recorded that'll play in season 3 as well. So I'm excited about that. So you can catch DrWhitty today on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. And we come on every other Monday at 7 p.m. And like the great Doc said, if it's a holiday on that Monday, the show follows on Tuesday at 7 p.m. So this has been a great show. I want to thank everybody. Thank my producer, Tyree King, for holding it down.
Tyree. Yeah.
Thank you to Donald Watts, DJ. That's one of my mentees that I mentored in the Army, and also as well for his educational journey. And like you, when you do things like that, people do shout out and they let you know how appreciative they are and what they achieved. And he was one of those that recently reached out to me, and he also recently graduated with his master's degree.
Awesome.
And he has a bachelor's degree as well. So doing great things. So thank you, DJ, for your support and tuning in. As always, also
can't wait to call him Dr. DJ. Can't wait.
Yeah. Also the wonderful Miss T. I see you out there always supporting as well. Love you to death. And I look forward to our next show that'll be coming up. Dr. JT, thank you once again. I cannot say it enough. It's been an awesome show. And you said that you got to be gone in 4 minutes, so I won't ask you to hang around for the after show. I'm sure we'll talk again later.
We'll catch up. For sure. Right. I appreciate you, Dr. Whitty. Appreciate you.
So everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. This has been Dr. Whitty Today. See you next time. Thank you for joining us on Dr. Whitty Today. We appreciate your time, and your viewership is the heartbeat of our show. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe. Your support keeps us going, and we can't wait to have you back. So hit the notification bell to find out each time we air live. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, stay motivated, and stay tuned.